What's up, everybody? It's Chad. I'm back again with another episode of Ask Chad Grassy Logic. I'm feeling a lot better this week. I'm actually in the studio. I don't have COVID anymore, thank God. So they got a little rough last year trying to do this show while having COVID, but I appreciate everybody's patience with me and everything. And B, thank you again, dude. She came in so clutch, just running over and going somewhere else to do the show because we had some issues. So that was cool. But this week we're going to be talking about a lighting company from New Mexico. It's called Cropboss LED, right?
Cropboss, yes.
Cropboss LED, Cropboss LED. All right. Yeah. Go ahead and introduce yourself, gentlemen.
Yeah, my name is Russell Holton, and I'm with Cropboss LED. We're a manufacturer here locally in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So we've been building lights, designing lights, engineering the lights. It's all a Cropboss product. So we are in control of every aspect of the lighting fixture that you get, that you can purchase from us. And we're out running around doing lighting layouts and helping growers get up and started with what we consider one of the biggest parts of the grow facility that you have to build everything around, So we've come up with a lot of different types of ways to help the grower out outside of the lighting capacity as well. So lighting is very important. And we've been building lights here in New Mexico for about 4 years when it comes to horticulture. Mm-hmm. I've been building lights from residential standpoint, commercial standpoint, industrial standpoint for 25 years total.
Okay.
So I've been building lights for quite a while. I've seen the change from incandescent lighting to fluorescent lighting to LED lighting. So that all took place over the last 15 to 20 years. And we've been changing and adapting and building lights to correspond with what's ever going on in the marketplace. 100%. And with horticulture coming in, we felt very strongly about the ability to build a horticulture light that meets and exceeds the growers, perspective. I mean, it's been very, very interesting build. We've actually come from another company that used to be in the U.S. and they were called San Bio. San Bio is a horticulture company that doesn't just do cannabis, but they do spectrums for every crop out there. It's just basically a horticulture lighting company that's a worldwide company, and we took over for what they left. They pulled out of North America, and we took on the cannabis side of it, and we are also distributing for them as far as traditional crops.
Okay.
So we're not just doing cannabis, but right now with cannabis doing what it is, we've pushed very heavily into that space, to help people out around here, because we see a lot of changes in the marketplace as far as how things are being done, what other lighting manufacturers are doing as far as helping the grower out. So we've kind of changed that design. We've gone with a nice light that we feel is very, very beneficial to the grower. And then we've taken on a more of a partnership approach, becoming growers ourselves, working with growers and trying to build systems that work around the grower itself and their techniques, rather than just us saying, hey, we have a light, it works great, go ahead and use it. So we like to put together a plan that works best for a grower in general. And that's where the local capacity comes in handy, because we can go to visit a grow site, we can be in contact with them on a regular basis. It's something that we feel very strongly about, that we don't just sell lights and move on. We like to hear how the grows are doing. We like to see where we can improve. We'd like to see where we can help, and even areas outside of the lighting. How can we help, and how can we design a system that works best for everyone? So that's kind of the background. But Santa Bio is now gone, so now we're working with them. So we use a lot of their components. We've used a lot of their engineering capacity in the past to help us design our lights. They've been around for 25 years, doing horticulture lighting for quite a while, doing containers, indoor grows, greenhouses. So we have a lot of capacity when it comes to working with the grower and trying to build something that fits their needs, rather than just a light.
Yeah, for sure. And I appreciate that, explanation and everything. That was great. But I want to give Vic a chance to introduce himself as well too, before we talk more about the company. So Vic, go ahead.
Yeah, my name's Vic. I own Showroom Cultivation and also a New Mexico clone. And in the background, you can see the lights there, Cropboss lights all over our
Nice.
house. You can see our phones here. So that's our operation there. We run the lights on our moms. I run them at 40%, about 18 to 24 inches over the canopy, and they jam. They
Yeah.
jam. And I rep the lights. I sell them. I use them here at my grow, at my personal grow, and I'm definitely a believer in their great lights. I mean, the end product, the flower is beautiful.
Yeah.
Just anything that you want from the flower, these lights just bring it out even more.
Yeah. And it's great that you guys are local because, a lot of the times, people are buying stuff from China. I saw that Dion's buying stuff from China or, other companies in the States. And, a lot of these times, these companies really don't stick around for very long. So they'll have like a 5-year warranty, but the company's around for 2 or 3. So like even the lifespan of the warranty of your light, they're not even around that long. So it's great that you guys are local and you're able to even just visit the facilities, and the
Right.
ones that you're helping and everything like that. So you guys actually manufacture these LEDs in Albuquerque?
We do a lot of assembly here.
Okay.
Our manufacturing is mainly done overseas. We have a couple different factories. We use factories that are also producing other horticulture fixtures. So some parts come from China, some parts come from Taiwan. Then we have a factory in Taiwan that basically builds the product for us according to our applications and what we're telling them to do.
Okay.
We have what we call a label called DLC listing. It's a Design Lights Consortium. It's basically a Energy Star type of a program. So it'll give you a rebate back on the light whenever a customer buys our light. They can get rebates back from the utility companies. That's one area we do help them in. But what that usually means is what I'm telling you on our spec sheets and what you're seeing on our website and all the information that I'm posting is all backed up by a government agency that tests it also as a second for a third party, and they qualify it and basically say, hey, your product is what it says it is, and we're not fudging in any way. So
Nice.
that's one of the nice things about it. And not everybody's DLC. There are different ways to trim pricing on fixtures, and a lot of that is getting around the DLC listing.
Yeah.
And not paying those fees and not doing the things it takes to get up to the standards that they require. And it's just it's a third party backup, basically, is what it boils down to. So whatever I'm telling you is exactly what the light is.
So you went the extra mile just to ensure that, the customer base is getting exactly what they want. Because I
Correct.
remember 4 or 5 years ago getting an LED, and I'm like, yeah, this is not what it says it is. So it's
No,
great.
yeah.
And I'm
They'd
sure we
say
still run
something
into that.
ridiculous, 2,000-watt LED or something. You're like, there's no way. There's no
Yeah,
way.
and it's a little thing like this big, and you're like, come on, it's not even a ballast. So, but yeah, it's great that you guys went that extra
Another
mile. What's up?
another thing that Cropboss does, like I mentioned it, is we'll go out to a facility and take light readings. Let's say it's a greenhouse. We'll take light readings of how much sun is penetrating into the greenhouse, and then calculate all that out and to see what the optimal amount of lights in your greenhouse you would need. Some greenhouses have less light coming through. It's called like a thicker glazing. So less sunlight comes through, so they need more supplemental lighting. And there's other greenhouses where it's almost 100% transmittance and they need a lot less supplemental lighting. So that's something
Nice.
we do is come out and we'll lay all that out and read the light readings for an indoor, take all the measurements, do a lighting layout for an indoor grow that shows power draw, your amps, your watts, how far to space the lights, how far above the canopy to hang the lights. It shows all that. And all that is a free service that Cropboss offers, that we come out and shake your hand and, walk your grow and listen to what you need and what is it that we can provide for you.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great because, a lot of the times back in the day, you would be speaking to a representative over in China, and, they
Right.
don't necessarily know how things grow in New Mexico. They don't know how your particular grow is. So you guys are essentially customizing the grow to the actual grow itself and to the grower. And that's great. You
Right.
guys are providing that for free, especially being a local
Exactly.
business. That's great. And that's something that these companies overseas and even in other states, they can't provide that unless you pay a high premium. You know what I mean?
Right.
Fly the crew out, et cetera, et cetera. But, being local, it's just a little drive for you guys more than anything.
Yeah, when we've done layouts down south in Cruces, we've done layouts up north, here in Albuquerque, greenhouse, indoor. And so, like I said, it's all just part of the service that we provide.
Yeah, that's great. And it's really cool. It's really blowing my mind that something like this exists in New Mexico. I keep thinking in my head like Apple, because Apple, they design it in California, and a lot of certain things are assembled. But it's kind of like the same thing. You guys assemble it there, put it together, but it is designed in America, in New Mexico. The plans are yours. The whole design is yours and everything. So yeah, that's great.
The warehouse is here. If a customer has an issue with the light going out, we could ship one out same day. They can come to the warehouse and swap it out. We can meet them at McDonald's and swap it. You know what I mean?
Deliver the product.
Exactly.
It's all about timing in a lot of ways with the cannabis plant. You don't want it to be without light.
Yeah.
So if something does happen, you want to add more lights, whatever. I mean, it's just it's a very convenient scenario for us.
That's great. And I'm glad this is around, because during the medical days we didn't have this. Nothing. The best you had was a grow store. At best. So now that something like this is coming up, I'm happy. That especially being New Mexico, because normally we're used to like at least something being in El Paso. Like the next best thing. Or Phoenix. And so it was never really New Mexico or even Denver. So it was never here. So it's great once I started doing more research on it. I kind of like, oh my God, these guys it's just New Mexico lights. Like, this is cool. I really like that, and it wasn't named Zia something, so it didn't really give it away at first that it was New Mexico based. So, I like the Zia names, but at the same time, I appreciate you guys thinking outside of the box in that aspect and everything, because I like creativity. And I'm sure customer bases too and everything. So we keep talking about LEDs, and for the for the listeners out there who don't know what LEDs are, could you maybe give a quick, break it down Barney style rundown on what they are?
Well, LEDs are basically your newest form of lighting. Everything's turning LED, or your traditional lights in your house, your outdoor lights outside, everything's gone LED. And what LED stands for, obviously, is a lighting emitting diode. It's a little chip or wafer that has current running through it, and low voltage current running through it, that emits a light. And basically, all we're doing is we're taking that chip and we're putting phosphors in it to coat it to reflect the type of light we want it to emit out of it. So we're trying to achieve the different spectrum levels with basically the phosphors that go inside of the chip.
Yeah.
There's a semiconductor that's behind it, circuit board. It runs through a driver. If you're familiar with the fluorescents, they were ballast and the fluorescent. They're drivers with the LEDs. And then you have your form factor, which is basically your shape of the fixture itself. So it's a pretty general, easy way to do it. And it's kind of falling in line with the energy efficiency. The fixture is very efficient, So I mean, the old school web methods were metal halide, HPS, HID type fixtures, So what LEDs? Oh yeah, so you're talking higher wattages, 1,000-watt plus type wattages,
high heat,
putting
a lot of heat.
Cook an egg on that bad boy.
On these lights, you put your hand on them. They're running if you can run them at full power, you put your hand on them and it doesn't burn. Yeah. It's hot. It's warm. It's got some temperature, but it's definitely not where you can't touch it.
Yeah, playgrounds were hotter, during the summer.
Yeah, exactly. The playground slide during the summer is way hotter.
Yeah, exactly, man. Yeah. Putting my hands on those. It's warm, but it's not going to hurt.
Right. So it comes down to the size of the chip. We use what we call a 30-30 chip. That's 3 millimeter by 3 millimeter chip. That's the size of it. And basically what the driver's doing into the fixture is it's basically driving the electricity at a very equal level for each individual chip. So each chip is getting the exact amount. And typically what you want to do, and chips have gone a long way as far as LED. We've come a long way over the last 10 years to be able to produce a chip that's very high level of power applications to get out of light to grow plants. So we can achieve a lot of different things with that chip. We know how to drive the wattage to achieve a higher red, a deep red, a blue. We're starting to find that the greens, the yellows, and the oranges are all starting to actually work for the plant. It's not just a light in there that doesn't really do much. But your metal halide fixtures were red and blue. You should have those two colors. So there wasn't much in the middle of those spectrums. So we originally put those other colors in there, and most manufacturers did just to make it less blurple. If you're familiar with the term blurple, back in the old days, when you have blue and red only, it would turn everything purple in the room, and you couldn't really see what was going on with the plants. And it was hard to defoliate. It was just very difficult to work in. Your eyes just couldn't handle that. So a lot of those colors were added just to make the light a lot clearer and a lot more bright, to where you can see what the plant looks like, see any kind of pests, any kind of viruses, be able to work in the environment much better. So that was really where it came from. Now we're starting to find that those colors actually do work with the plant. The plant does see those types of things. So it does help with the stem growth, the leaf, color, the leaf, size, just a lot of the healthy aspects of the plant. So that part has been very unique, and we continue to learn on it. We don't, when you sit here and say we know everything about everything, this is a work in progress. Everything continues to develop, continues to get better. We stay on top of it on a regular basis to make sure we're on the cutting edge of everything that is gone. So we're basically tuning these spectrums to get the best optimization out of the light as possible, without having to use additional knobs and additional bars or any additional tuning aspects to it to create the spectrum that we're trying to achieve. So it's very contractor or grower friendly, you could say. To where you don't have to adjust anything, and we just put it up. And if you're buying a light that has a full white spectrum and you want to veg and flower under it, it's going to give you the best optimal results for veg and the best optimal results for flowering. And we have a flower FL spectrum that will do both as well. It'll actually achieve a little bit more, but when you start getting into the spectrum side, it's just, how can we make this light as easy as possible to use without adding anything else to it?
Exactly. And we have the site, your website pulled up right now. So this is your FL Spectrum full flower. And is this a particular light, or is this a setting of the light?
That's the setting of the light.
Okay.
So if you were to put a spectrometer under it, which is a device you can actually read spectrum from a light, you would see the same bumps and same readouts as you get on this particular chart.
Right. And as a grower, I'm looking at this. I know what I'm seeing here, but someone who maybe isn't keen on, the growing sense of what we're looking at, can you maybe break that down, Barney style, for the audience?
Yeah, basically what you're looking at is on the bottom axis where it says wavelength. You have a 400, and it goes all the way up to, it doesn't show 700, but between 400 and 700 is your typical reading on a spectrum chart. That's what we feel the plants read and see. And when we're basically raining down the par onto the plant, this is what the plant is actually receiving as far as the PPFD. Most of our lights will be PPF readings of in between 1800 and 2000. But this is what it's gathering, as far as par. So most of your light will come into the 400 to 700 range. This particular spectrum we're looking at is our far red spectrum, our flower spectrum.
Yes.
And that's some of the newer type of spectrums that are out there. It's becoming very, very popular because what we're doing is taking advantage of what we call the Emerson effect. And what the Emerson effect is basically taking your 680 wavelength, and you're combining it with a 730 to a 750. So it's going past your 700.
Yeah.
And when you combine the two, you get a totally different reaction with secondary metabolism from the plant.
Interesting.
And you start seeing higher yields, you start seeing different cannabinoid and terpene profiles, and it really becomes a medical grade cannabis plant. And you can control how you basically grow your flower that way. So you can actually get higher yields, higher results out of it. So your COAs come in with higher numbers, higher THC levels, everything kicks up a notch, and it could be as much as 20% difference.
Yeah.
So
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say basically you're just combining the two. So your spike there at around 680, it's 660 to 680, where you see your red spike. You combine that with your far red, which is at 730, and that gets you your Emerson effect, and your secondary metabolism kicks up, and really it just changes the game. It's a game changer. And you could still veg under it, so you still got the blue. We're not recommending doing 8-week runs of veg underneath this particular light. That's where you kind of go to this other spectrum where you see the blue's much higher.
Yes.
But you still can veg under that. So we can do 3 to 4 weeks of veg, and then run your 8 weeks to 10 weeks of flower. And then you can actually see your results if you were to try one light against the other. Most lights out there are what we call the full white, which is what this is here. So that's your standard wavelength.
Yeah, it is. And for most, the lights that I've seen, most of them mimic the same to similar for the one we're looking at right now for the grow and flower. And, if you guys noticed in the other one, it's almost like they kind of took away, the green and the yellow, and it just went to red and far red. And it's kind of essentially with the flower, what you guys did, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is the full white spectrum. And, when we kind of talk about other things and other tuning, other light fixtures that are out there, there are knobs and stuff on the light fixture that you have to actually adjust to achieve the spectrums that they're representing.
Yeah.
And really in a large scale grow facility, we don't want, the growers to have to go up there and, change the spectrum whenever it comes down to 6 week of flower, or, flipping it from veg to flower. We don't want to have to do anything like that. We would just want to have it very simple to work with, and just keep it very easy to use.
Yeah. And so these can be daisy chained and then put to a central control system.
Correct. Yes.
Nice. That's good to see.
They are daisy chainable. We don't daisy chain power, but we do daisy chain the dimming.
Okay.
We currently are using an autopilot PX2 controller. That's what we stock, and that's what easily fits. Our dimming is 0 to 10. It'll work with any 0 to 10 dimmer. So Hydrofarm, ProFlux, anything that's 0 to 10 will link together with our light fixtures.
Right.
But we do stock the autopilot, and we're currently in the works of working on our own controller as well.
Oh, nice.
As this year progresses, we're in talks right now to get our own controller, and not only our own controller, but to start incorporating AI into the controller rather than just having dimming and on off and sunrise sunset capabilities, all those basic scenarios. We want to actually have it work with the soil, work with the plant, work with the environment, and be able to tell us when we need to make adjustments and help us out on that capacity as well. So that's kind of where the future's headed with lighting. It's not just a light anymore. It's the controlling aspect of it as well. So we'll keep posting new things as we get into new products and new lights, new controllers, those types of things. We'll post them on our website and keep everybody updated with what's going on with our company. And one of the nice things that I wanted to mention before, as far as being local, I run trial programs too. So if somebody's capable or wanting to do just a trial run of our lights just to see how they work, I'll set them up. So just let us know. And then we have programs out there that will give you 6 months to give it a shot, give you a couple of flower runs through the cycle and see what you think about the light itself. I could talk about it all day, but really the plants are what really sell it.
Yeah. The
final results. So I'm very wide open to that. So I do programs with greenhouses, indoor facilities, hobbyists, guys that are working in containers, and I take 3 or 4 lights. You tell me what you think about it. You want to put them up against what you got already? We'll do that. We'll set it up for you. Give you 6 months. You don't like them, then you can send them back to me. If you do like them, you can buy them, and we can work out the program from there. So it's a very flexible arrangement.
No, it is. And it's lucky that, you guys are local because you can provide that.
Yep.
And,
Yep.
like I said before, the people who aren't local, they can't do that.
No,
We,
no.
we are a local company, but we are doing business around the world. I'm doing a grow in Ireland. I got grows in Puerto Rico. I got grows in Canada. I got several grows going around the country. So it's not just a locally based company. We're able to do a lot more here locally than we can when I get up to like going to Michigan or New York. It's a little bit more tougher to get up there and do that. But I still run trial programs. I still help out as much as possible. If we have to go to a job site, jump on a plane, we're there.
Yeah.
So it's still a very hands-on, type of partnership company that we're working through.
Nice. So, the locals get priority is kind of what I'm hearing.
For sure.
For sure. We're all from here. We love being from here. We love everybody here. It's been a great business. A lot of great people we're working with, and we've enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yeah.
I've been in the corporate world for many years, and it's nice to be able to come into a company and build it ourselves, build it the way we want to build it, and do the things that maybe some of the bigger companies can't do, and that's just providing that service. I mean, service is hard to come by these days.
It really is.
And we take pride in that, so we're focusing on the service, and then the lights, if you like the lights and like what we're selling, we'll work that out too,
Nice. Yeah. I mean, that's I'm like speechless almost, because like that's such a great deal. And if you are a grower, your business, whatever, hit these gents up. It's pretty much risk free. You get to try the lights against your lights. You can use the same cultivars and get to see what it does. Because from looking at the stats that you guys got, that's really impressive of what you're doing. And what you got going on, because those spectrums are gorgeous, that you guys got going on there. Because, I wanted to talk about spectrums, and not just like my IEP from middle school, but, I wanted to talk more about the light spectrums, and you touched it magnificently, just broke it down Barney style for the most simplest way people can understand it. And there's a little more technical stuff that goes into it, but, for the most part, you guys just did amazing. And I want to ask you this, and this is kind of, I guess controversial, if you talk to certain growers, the certain lights that people have in the grow, the green ones. Do you recommend those? Do plants really react to that actually? Or what are you guys finding when it comes to the green lights?
What I recommend when it comes to working in a facility when the lights are off, the green light is the best way to go.
Okay.
But it's not just any green light. You can't just use any green light. You have to have one that's tuned in and dialed into a specific wavelength. Typically in the 550 range is really where you want it, 525 to 550. Most of the manufacturers that build lights that are designed to go into a dark room are in that wavelength.
Oh, cool.
But it's not just any green light, so you have to be careful about that. But obviously you don't want to go into a room if the lights are off, if you can completely avoid it. But you have to do it, which we know we have to. Sometimes you have to make sure you have the right one.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I would say, being the grower too, I would say, like he said, just if you don't have to go in the grow or the lights off, don't. But if you absolutely have to, plan for it and be in there as little as possible.
Yeah.
Because like you said, there's no proof one way or the other, I guess, to say, does it affect flowering or doesn't? I mean, it's hard to say, but I would definitely err on the side of less time in there and less lights on.
Yeah. Yeah.
For
I mean,
sure.
it makes less issues. You're not introducing
Exactly.
anything. Yeah. Because when I'm flowering or anything, I try not to make sure I go in there too. People are like, oh, can I see your plants? I'm like, they're asleep. Sorry.
Can't do it right now.
Yep.
Yeah. Can't check them out. Can't check out the babies right now. I'm sorry. You can check out the baby later. So thank you so much for this great conversation on this. I've learned a lot. I hope that, you all listening, you all have learned a lot, and maybe you guys can hit these gents up. So where can people find you guys, Cropboss, online, social media?
Basically online and social media. It's cropbossled.com is the website. Cropboss LED is Instagram. We're still working and building our page. Those are the two main places to find us.
Instagram, yep.
So my information's on the website. So if you call the number that's on the website or you send an email that's on the website, it'll come to me. That's how you can contact me directly. New Mexico Clones is also part of the operation. So I partner with Vic. So Vic is also a contact for Cropboss. He can answer questions and get you leading in the right direction at any time. So you can find his information there as well. But that's the main area. So I'd say the website's the best.
Website and Instagram for sure. Yeah, I run the Instagram, so I answer the messages, goes directly, and so
Nice.
yeah, it's the best way for sure.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate that, Jensen. I hope you guys get more calls and more people interested, because I can't wait to see what you guys are doing. Because come to find out, you're not just local; you guys are international. So congratulations on that, and hopefully you can get out to Germany and get to that industry at some point. Wunderbar.
Texas first. Texas first.
Yeah, Texas first. They're gonna come.
And then we'll go to Germany. Yeah, Texas will be a fun one if they come online during our time.
Right. Yeah. We'll see how long that takes, but
right.
Well, I appreciate it, gentlemen. Do you have anything before we move on to the next topics?
Do like want to mention one more thing. I did talk about a little bit at the beginning on the DLC listing. We work with the rebate company, the utilities to do the rebates. So we're working with B&M, we're working with El Paso Electric, we're working with XL Energy. So if you're falling in any of those areas that you pay your electricity bill to those utilities, there are rebates available, and we can take it, and they can be as much as 50%, as low as 20%. It just depends on your light, but there are some very significant levels of rebates. We calculate that for you. It's not something you have to go outside of the box. We can take care of that for you. It's a very kind of some people get a little nervous when it comes to dealing with that type of thing, paperwork and getting money back, all that kind of thing. So
we do all that.
It's a service we also do for free, and we do it as well.
Awesome.
Just depends on where. There's a lot of co-ops out there. They're not running as many rebates, but the main three utilities are running rebates. And all it does is take who you're paying the bill to. I can find out what's going on, and we can work out your price accordingly.
Nice. Yeah. And as some of you know, if you don't know, New Mexico, we offer rebates for, LED lights or efficient lighting, efficient water stuff, et cetera, et cetera. So if, you are in the industry, look to that, because that's money coming back to you that you don't have to, really work hard for, and it'll help you out in the long run, especially when it comes to
it's not just lighting. We can get dehues, we can get your HVACs, we get your circular fans, whatever it is. There's a lot of products that you miss out on. And if you're doing it yourself, sometimes you may miss that stuff. If you're not, we can make sure we can get our eyes on what's going on and make sure you're getting every nickel back that you deserve, because it's a significant startup cost. Whatever we can do to help you save money there, do it.
Yeah. 100%. I appreciate you guys offering that service as well too, because most companies are like, well, there's a rebate, but good luck.
Here's the link.
Call your power company.
Yeah. And if the listeners, if you guys don't know as well, you notice they said El Paso Electric. Pretty much Doña Ana down, we actually get our power from El Paso, Texas. We actually don't go through PNM. I'm from Alamogordo originally. They actually get theirs from PNM. They're only 60 miles northeast. So it's kind of weird that they don't, but we do. So yeah, but if you guys are wondering why they mentioned a couple other ones, that's the reason why, because there's certain areas of the state that pull the electricity from another state. So just wanted to give that little caveat in there. But again, gentlemen, thank you so much for this conversation. I can't wait to see what you guys have, in store for the future, and to see what these lights really do, especially for the grows here in New Mexico, because as you guys know, the craft cannabis in the state is already killer. So hopefully you guys can make it even more stellar. So thank you again. And let's move on to the next conversation. Oh, what's up?
Said thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate the time as well.
No problem, man. Appreciate it. All right. So let's move on to the next topic right here. We got 2 more topics left for the day, y'all, and then we're out of here for the week. So the first topic we're going to talk about, New Mexico. We actually just topped $1 billion in sales. So yeah, that is an amazing feat. It didn't even take us 2 years, to be honest. It is 1 year and 11 months since we went adult use, and we already hit the $1 billion mark. Now, states like Missouri, they hit $1 billion the first, year they're in. They have significantly more people than us, and there's more people closer to them that have more illegal states. So they got a lot more people rushing into that area, especially because, as you guys know, Kansas City is split between Kansas the state, and Missouri. So it's 2 in 1. And so there's a lot of people that are going over to the Missouri side, coming back, because that's actually a pretty big city. So lucky for them, they have the similar situation that we do with like El Paso, but there just happens to be more people in the area. So good for them. But New Mexico, great for us. We made $1 billion. We only have 2 million people in the state, and that's actually pretty impressive, with the amount of people that we have and the amount of money that we made with the amount of time that we've done it. That's actually really impressive. What are your guys' kind of thoughts on, how much, money we made and everything like that?
It's looks like it's trending upwards still. I mean, if you look at the crop portal on the CCD website, and it shows that trending graph since it started, it's just going up every month, just going up, going up.
Yeah.
So who knows? I mean, with all the retailers opening, and they're still opening up here in Albuquerque. You still see retailers opening up, once a week here and there, and so who knows how it's. I mean, if it's tough to say. I think it's still going to grow, and still going to, sales are going to go up. I think bigger brands are going to start looking at New Mexico. You'll start seeing these like multi-state branded products popping up, your celebrity endorsed products, all that crap. You'll start to see those really pop up going forward. And as smaller companies go out of business, sad to say, it happens, and they get taken over by bigger companies, and that's when you'll start to see these branding deals and these companies that you see out in California and Colorado, they'll pop up here and you're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
And it's just, I think that's what's a lot is going to happen as far as like branding and bigger known companies coming here.
Yeah. And what I've been noticing is a lot of these bigger brands, like even like the Willie Nelson and all those ones, they're kind of working more with the smaller dispensary ones instead of like, a lot of the MSO ones. Don't get me wrong, there are some. But I've been noticing, like, even, I don't know if you guys know who she is. Her name's Christelle Poppin. She's from El Paso and, does rap and stuff. She actually partnered with Astro Buds down here in the South. And so they're working really locally together, which I thought that was a cool collaboration. But we are going to see more of those big stars with the big companies working together. And then, of course, just like any business, people get out of business, people lose their business for whatever reason. And unfortunately, sometimes they're mom and pops. So that's something that we're just going to see. Luckily, some of the people that have started craft on the side as a micro business, they're actually with the big boys now with their big licenses. So, there's a couple people that have actually moved up because the micro license was meant as a starting point and it meant for you to grow from there. So I'm glad to see that people are actually doing that and going that route. So that's probably another factor too, because the cannabis that some of these places are putting out is really good, like I said before. And I'm sure you guys have, been running across it up there up north too.
Yep. Yeah. Another thing I see a lot of too is the opposite side of these big producers just sitting on product.
Yeah.
You see that a lot. People approach me, hey man, I need got these pounds. I need, X amount from, just whatever. I just need to get rid of them. I need to get rid of them. Help me out. And it's hard with the flooded market and, all the product that's out there that is not the best quality. And I think a lot of those companies that are in the not the best quality category are going to have a hard time.
I agree. And that's something that we're already seeing. If you look at the sales, a lot of these places that started like this, April 1st, 2022, if you look at them now, March of, 2024, they're kind of down here because of the quality. You could get away with that at the beginning because there wasn't much selection, there wasn't many details, and we didn't have enough cannabis. We didn't run out of cannabis because we had illegal cannabis everywhere, and it's still all over the state. But when we first opened, that's pretty much all you could find was illegal cannabis, for out-of-state cannabis, because it was just crazy. And I knew it was going to be crazy for a while, and there's a few things that I told people were going to change. And I'll name them right now. The first thing I told people was I said, look, patience, the day before, it was March 31st. And I was telling people, I said, look, your concerns tomorrow are going to change and they're never going to be the same. The concerns we have today, tomorrow it's going to be something different. And sure as shit, 12 hours later, why aren't patients being seen first? And I was like, there it is. There's our first, concern.
Yep.
And
I
so,
remember the day
ahead.
it went rec too. I went to a couple dispensaries and there was patients in there. Why am I not first? Why can't I go in front of the line? Why are these people being? It's like, dude, it's a changing market,
Yeah.
and the companies that didn't pivot and adjust to rec, they're gone under.
Yeah.
There's the big one, Organica. I feel like they tried to push medical and they tried to stay medical and try to put the patients first. But I mean, in the rec market, medical's a dying sector.
Yeah. And that's the unfortunate part about, the medical programs once you go adult use or rec is they kind of get forgotten about or just left in the dust. And that's
Yep.
something that I really don't want to happen to us. At least keep the program and allow, people to have that option, to have the card, to have higher THC, whatever else, or, more than what the regular person's allowed to possess, because patients, especially if someone who's going through cancer, they have to use a lot more cannabis than a regular person. They really don't have a choice. So, it's something that goes to that. But yeah, unfortunately, in most states, and I think certain states got rid of their medical cannabis programs altogether. And it's just a straight adult use market where they, I guess, like if you're from out of state and you have a medical cannabis card, they just give you a discount, something like that. Or, if you use it
I
for a
see.
certain element or whatever, they'll give you a discount. So that's the unfortunate thing about it. Hopefully we can change that in New Mexico. We're doing things differently here than other states are doing. Like the consumption lounge thing is just barely catching on in other states. I think Las Vegas just approved their very first one. Nevada, not New Mexico. They just approved their very first one. And that's for the whole state, I believe. So, I mean, you figured Las Vegas would have like 50 by now,
Right.
Yeah, but they're kind of lagging behind too. So, and that was the first change, was the patience thing. The second one was no longer waiting times. It was kind of a part of the first one because we had, as I said, not many retails were open at the time. So you had everybody and their mom here in the first week trying to buy cannabis. I remember down here in the South, we had adult sales start at midnight and it wrapped around the building, the whole building plaza, like
I remember that. Yeah, you guys down south did the first rec cannabis sale at midnight.
Yeah, we did.
Yep,
And
that was a big thing. That was, yeah, hell yeah, hats off to that.
yeah, and that was cool, because Las Cruces, the city council actually decided not to set operation hours for cannabis here, in Cruces, which you can do, but it's up to the city. And ours said, well, screw it, let's try it, see how it goes. And there's actually been no issues. And actually, there have been times where people who live in a neighborhood next to a dispensary have thanked the dispensary people, like, hey, I want to thank you guys for being here, because if the 24 hours always open, they're like, crime here went down. No one's going to want to do stuff if someone's always here. And so, like people were worried about their employees at night. It's like, well, there's places that get broken into when they're closed, when they haven't been broken into when they're open. So the 24-hour ones, they seem to be safer than the ones that actually shut down, which is interesting. So more time, more
Makes
data,
sense.
but we'll see what happens,
Right. Do you know, are there other states that have drive-throughs or 24 hours?
So I believe Las Vegas, Nevada has a drive-through. I don't know about 24 hours though. 24 hours seems to be something that New Mexico is really kind of just playing with. The rest of the states are kind of, and I kind of
So,
think
yeah.
that maybe New York State might have 24 hours, but what New York did and where they messed up and where they're having issues, because we made more money than New York did, like hand over fist. They barely made money on their program because there's so many illegal dispensaries over there. They allowed the local municipalities to ban cannabis if they want. And that's caused issues because even in California, only 30% of the cities sell cannabis legally. The rest
Right.
have a ban on it. So when you do that, you create a lucrative market because now there's these areas that don't have legal cannabis, but there's still a need for legal cannabis. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like regardless if
Yeah.
you like it or not. So that's kind of what we're seeing on that front too. So it's really interesting, what places try to do to fix something, but it really caused more issues than anything, And I feel
Yeah, it's
like New York
like
is,
fear, like making decisions out of fear,
yeah. And
for
I'm
sure. Because
learning
it's
this with,
unknown. It's unknown.
it is, it's a
So
very unknown thing. But what I'm noticing, which is weird, psilocybin doesn't have the same stigma as cannabis. And that is strange to me. That, you bring up cannabis and people are like, oh no, you bring up psilocybin. Oh yeah, well, that makes sense. And I'm like, what?
yeah.
So it's probably, it's just because, people were drilled in their head for so long, cannabis bad, cannabis bad, cannabis bad, and so now mushrooms kind of stayed under the radar a little bit. You know, it had the same stigma, but it's not as bad. You know, there wasn't songs that, you know, the shroomy man, or, you know, the bad, you know, mushroom
Right.
man,
It's
you know,
not it was not like such in your face that it's bad like cannabis
yeah.
is.
Yeah, you know, there was, you know, news articles back in the day that, you know, they used racist undertones, that, you know, cannabis makes the brown man look at the white man in the eye twice, or something ridiculous. You know, there wasn't stuff for that when it came to psilocybin. We laugh about it, but I'm like, God, it was true back then. It's so stupid that they actually published something like that. But yeah, you know, and we're going to see more changes on our front too. You know, we made $1 billion, great, but our industry is forever changing. It's forever fluid.
Always.
Um,
And my advice to people getting in, or if you're in and you're trying to figure out how to move forward, dude, is marketing.
yeah, yeah,
Branding, marketing, and brand and market some more.
yeah, yeah.
Because I
You
mean,
could,
honestly, I would say 75% of the time, you know, the consumer doesn't really care what the weed looks like in the bag. It's sad
yeah,
to say,
yeah,
but if it's got a good print or good image, dude, and branding is where it's at in marketing.
yeah. And from my experience, you know, even when you go to sell a product to a retail, you know, owner, if they see the labeling, first thing I've noticed is if they like it, they say, "I love your packaging." That's the first
Yep.
thing they say. They check out the
Yep.
packaging right away. That's the
Packaging.
first thing
Yep.
they do. If they like it, they tell you, "I love your packaging." And sometimes they don't even look at the product. They just
They'll
say,
just
"I love
buy
your
based on
packaging
packaging.
with
Yeah,
the
because
prices."
it's gonna look good. It's gonna look good in the case. It's gonna look, you know, nice displayed with the light on it, and it's gonna sell. You know,
Yeah.
it's
And here's an experiment that we did on accident. We worked with a certain farm, and we had the same exact product at the end. We decided to do our own packaging our own way, and they did their own way. And but their way was a lot more simpler, whatever, which is fine, whatever. However, ours sold at the same exact place they were at, and we were at the same place. Ours sold significantly more just because of packaging. And like that's literally proof that packaging sells. You know, a lot of the
oh,
times
dude.
people collect packaging.
Yep.
I have Pikachu McDonald boxes. You know, like
Yeah.
people are stupid like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Like
I've
I
never
have
thought about
stupid
that.
stuff.
That's true. Yeah. People
Yeah,
do collect packaging for sure.
yeah, it's a thing. You know, and people will sometimes put value to it. Oh, this packaging, this and this from this year. They get really nerdy into it, dude. It's
Right.
crazy.
Oh,
It's its own
the
whole world.
limited release or the collaboration packaging or whatever.
Mhm. So the ones
Yep.
that are intentionally doing it, I shout out to Olio. They're one of the only ones doing it in the state. They're doing a lot of limited stuff, and it's being noticed everywhere I go. If they have Olio, they have the little dab tools that come in it. They have it saved, you know, because those are limited edition. They only come out, you
Right.
know, like just with that one. And now they're doing
Yep.
the pearls. So doing a pearl inside of the thing too. That's limited edition too. Some of these places are numbering their limited edition. So this just adds more value to it. And I kind of see that happening here in New Mexico because we're all about art in this state. Let's be honest. And so the collectors of art here, they're already here, and so it's already happening, and I'm already seeing it, and I kind of love it. To be honest, I'm smiling because like I love seeing this kind of happening in New Mexico because it's almost like to us. You know what I mean? I don't see it in every state because some states, let's be honest, their packaging sucks, and
Yeah.
it's due to law. It's not really their fault. It's just because of the way the laws are written over there. But here in New Mexico, yeah, it's different. And we're only going to see this $1 billion industry grow and grow more through the years. We will see it table out eventually once federal regulations come along. Of course, once Texas comes along too, we'll see another big drop there. But you know, as for right now, you know, I'm pretty excited for New Mexico, especially Little Dubai. You know, Southern Park. You know, 17,000 residents, and they're just killing it in the market, staying about number 5 since we went adult use, and kind of staying up there in the top. And they have plans to really expand, and have plans to keep Texans there longer to spend more money, which I mean, thank you.
Can I show you some? Speaking of packaging, this actually just came up across my feed earlier. Can I show you? Check this out. This packaging. Let's see. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, dude,
There.
I love that. I saw that the other day. Oh, that blew my mind. I thought that was the most ingenious thing ever. And the camera's having a hard time picking it up. If you guys can't tell, it's a notebook, like the old school notebooks, that you see on
The
the
old
cartoons.
composition.
Yeah, a little composition one. You open it up, and it has like the little, real binding and everything. But you open it up,
There
it's
we
a
go.
bag. There we go. Let's see if we can get it there. It's a little
It's just a
baggie.
composition, and it's got the
Oh,
mylar on the inside.
I love it. I
That's.
love that.
Tell me you wouldn't buy that just for that
Ah,
package.
Exactly.
Dude,
I would
I would
have
buy
a
it
rapper
just for the
sign that.
packaging.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would take it to a Wiz
That's-
Khalifa concert and be like, can you sign my packaging?
That's what I'm saying, dude. The power, and
Yeah.
they could probably charge 50, 60 bucks for that eighth.
Yeah. All day. You know, people will
Yep.
pay it all day. I mean, look at
Yep.
cookies, you know, the way they brand, you know, it's, you know, you like it, hate it, whatever, you know, they do have really great branding, you know, even on
The
their
branding,
packaging.
yeah, that's their whole thing is the branding.
Yeah.
The
You know,
product is
the-
good, depends who you talk to. The flour, I like the flour,
Mhm.
but the branding is where it's at for them for sure.
Yeah.
The merch,
Yeah.
the branding,
Yeah. The
the
marketing, you know,
collabs.
yep. You know, they did it right. So I'll give them that. You know, they did it right in that front, the marketing and everything. You know, I mean, because look at how many states they're in now and how many states they've gone to. So they're you know doing a pretty good job here in New Mexico. So hats off to them for that. You know, but we'll see if that continues on because we're only hitting to year 2. You know, most states their markets really don't start to stabilize till about year 5. We're in the I'm in my weird phase of like the industry, you know, kind of era. It's like I'm in my weird era. And because there's a lot of weird things going on, there's a lot of mergers happening. There's a
New
lot of
players coming in. Yeah, that big merger just happened. The Oasis swap merger.
yeah,
That's got mystery written all over it.
yeah. You know, that's got the mystery van parked right in front. You know, so
Right.
their mystery machine
See how that
parked in
plays
front.
out.
Right. So, but congratulations to New Mexico. We made $1 billion. Congratulations to everybody in the industry, including yourselves, gents. You know, you guys help fuel that. You know, you can't have an industry without plants. You can't have plants without supplemental lighting or lighting in certain cases. So, you know, like hats off to you, gents, you know, for helping out on that $1 billion. And, you know, it's just going to keep going up. As you said, those numbers keep going. We do see a little dip in January, February due to, you know, the holidays and taxes, but it recovers, and that's going to be
Definitely been trending upwards since April of 21.
yeah. Every year goes up. You know, we may have like a tiny little dip, but it's going up every month, and you know we're just making more money, and that's great for New Mexicans. So we'll see things here improve soon. So, but anyway, that's all I have for that topic. We'll move on to the next one, and this is the last one. The UN or United Nations, they actually disagree with Germany, and they're not talking about us, you know, on this one that much. They actually do not like the fact that Germany is going to go with the legalization because we have some treaties. So if you're a part of the United Nations, you're part of certain treaties. We have a bunch of drug treaties that we're a part of, and I guess they call them conventions. And so the conventions that we're part of do not allow us to have cannabis legal the way that we've been doing it, even here in the United States, where the federal government's been hands off, whatever. The UN essentially wants us to be kicking down doors and shooting people, you know, and over cannabis. My thing about that is a lot of this stuff is outdated because a lot of these conventions come from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. You know, I think they named 3 different conventions that, you know, that it's a part of. And to me, that it just seems we need to catch up. The UN itself needs to catch up because they're saying we're breaking international law, but I'm like, oh, what are you going to do? Come to America and kick our doors in? Like, try. So it's like there's really not much repercussions I could see really happening other than they may not help us with certain incidents or whatever. You may not get as much support from the UN, whatever they may be, which, you know, however people may feel about that in a political sense. I'm just trying to get the facts out there with this one. But the real issue is coming from the International Narcotics Control Board, or the INCB for short. So they're the ones really coming out and saying that, you know, they have these issues, blah, blah, blah. And I guess they're kind of just doing their job. But at the same time, they have an issue with the production, manufacture, export, import, distribution, trade, possession, all that stuff. They have issues with it, especially when it comes to Germany, because as you guys know, I've been talking about this and covering it. Germany legalized cannabis nationally a couple of weeks ago. And what that's going to do is going to create an industry of almost a bunch of collectives, like collectives consumption lounge is what it's kind of sounding to me. And I think the UN is actually happy they went that route because it's not a full-on legalization thing, kind of like what Canada did and maybe what Uruguay did. Because for some reason, they didn't mention Canada at all, but they did mention the United States, which is weird. They don't like the way that we did it with the federal government, but they have no issue with Canada for some reason. I'm like, Canada, it's legal through the whole nation and federally. So that doesn't make any sense. So I just wanted to touch on this because the UN this has been one of the big reasons why people are saying that we can't decriminalize cannabis federally here in the United States is because of conventions like these. And when you read reports like this and then the UN comes out, it kind of makes you feel that that's kind of confirmed true. However, there's other countries that are part of the UN that are already legalizing cannabis and not really having much issues from the UN themselves or international laws or conventions. So my kind of thing is, it's probably just either nitpicking and them just not wanting to catch up to the time. I feel that this is going to have to be reviewed sometime in the future because this isn't something that can stay, because we're already reviewing what we want to do. And this is something that the article actually mentioned, that the UN actually didn't say anything about our review of cannabis right now and them recommending Schedule 3. So I have no clue where they're kind of going here. It's like you kind of want a little legalization or whatever, or do you just want it medical? And I think they just want it medical. And I'm not too sure why they think so, but I kind of feel that in the future, and I'm thinking probably within 3 years, we'll have to review these conventions again and possibly come up with new ones, because we're not the ones legalizing it. Other countries are. Canada, Germany, Uruguay. I mean, I don't even know if Uruguay is part of the UN. I don't think they are. But other countries, are they? Oh, they are. Okay. So Uruguay is a part of it. And actually, I think Poland is looking to legalize cannabis too, because they have a medical program and they actually send their cannabis to Germany, because Germany gets cannabis from Israel, Canada, and Poland. And I think they have some inside of their country too. So Germany gets it internationally. So we have this going on. And just like in the States, once one state falls and another falls, all kind of come along with it. We're going to start seeing that in Europe. So we're going to start seeing more countries in Europe start to legalize it slowly. So I think Poland might be the most recent one after Germany. So once that happens, the UN is going to have no choice but to update it. I'm sorry to not ask about your opinions on this. I just want to get the information out. What do you guys think about that and everything?
Honestly, it's the first time I'm kind of hearing about it. I didn't even know that Germany went nationally legal. That's pretty sweet. But honestly, I'm not much. Honestly, I don't know.
I mean, it's pretty cut and dry.
Yes.
The UN has an issue with us.
I'm kind of liking the fact that things aren't quite legal right now, because I don't want, cannabis to become a commodity, then your prices start really dropping and things really start changing in your own marketplace, that you built up for so many years. So, I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can look at it.
Yeah, it's kind of nice. We a cannabis company that the government is pretty hands off. The CCD does their inspections, but for the most part, no one really wants to deal with it. They're like, we'll let the agency that's in charge deal with it, which is pretty cool. I mean, it now in the beginning, it helps with certain things. There's certain stuff we're like, well, they're not checking for that, so we can kind of put that off till next month or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. When we get more.
Whereas if like you're an electrician starting an electrical company, I mean, you got to cross your T's and dot your I's. There's red tape the whole way through.
Yeah.
But we're here in cannabis. It's, at least in our state, it's pretty simple to get your license. It's not the hardest thing to do. I'm not anything special. I went to high school and that's about it. And I did it all myself.
Yeah.
So it's nice being that our laws are pretty lenient here in New Mexico.
They really are. I'm actually grateful for the laws that we have here, because, don't get me wrong, they're not perfect, but, we could have been way worse off. But there was bills I had fought when I was an advocate on the medical side for years, that state stores, they want you to have a license just to grow at home. You're only allowed an ounce, like ridiculous ones. So I'm glad we have what we ended up with, but I'm also glad we didn't get everything we wanted, if that makes sense.
Right.
If we got exactly everything we wanted, we might be in a different spot right now. Like, let's say federal government decriminalizes tomorrow. Well, we're not in a stable market yet. What that does is we have a trigger law in New Mexico as long as two governors agree, and then all of a sudden we have interstate commerce with every state around us. So all of a sudden, a bunch of places start going out of business because they can't keep up with the stuff coming out of state that's now legal and allowed to do, which that might cause even more issues, because now we have this illegal product and this legal product existing at the same time before we were able to get rid of the illegal product. So that's going to cause a mess on its own. And I just realized that. And then we're going to have this weird area of these people unable to get up to federal codes. you know, like, because there's going to be a bunch of more federal regulations we have to follow if it's federally legal. And there's going to be people who just can't afford to get up to code. So what I've actually told people is we might end up with 2 different industries once we either deschedule or reschedule, because we're going to have people who just can't get to descheduled regulations yet because they can't afford it, or they're going to go out of business. So I feel certain states already are like, well, fuck you. And, you know, you're scheduling, we're already, you know, legalizing it here the way we want to. What's going to stop them from doing the same thing once we go to a descheduled or rescheduled federal program? So I kind of see states, especially at the beginning, having transition phase where we have 2 different industries. And who knows, it might pop up with 3 if something else pop-offs, because we have hemp too. If they don't kind of combine everything and kind of fix it all, we're going to end up with possibly 3 different industries for essentially one in the same plant. And that's going to be a little ridiculous and confusing.
Yeah.
So
and a different agency overseeing each one.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't talk to each other.
Oh, they don't, dude. It's the worst. Like, even when I was in the military, dude, dealing with other branches, oh my God, that was a pain in the ass. Like, the easiest one to deal with was the Air Force, because the Air Force and the Army were pretty much work together all the time, right? You go to the Navy base, oh, dude, I'm lost. I'm saluting the wrong people. I'm going to the wrong building. I don't know what anything's called. Like, it's just confusing. So yeah, it's just it's one of those things that, you know, hopefully we can get some standardization. So, but anyway, that's all I had on that one. I did want to add that I guess the UN also has an issue with the psilocybin stuff going on in the States right now. All the states legalizing it for medical purposes. So they're going to be mad at us here in New Mexico here soon, because we're going that route as well. But, you know, and there's also chances for you guys to get into that too, because, you know, you do need a little bit of lighting when you grow mushrooms. You know, it's not a lot, but you need a little bit. And I'm sure you guys can figure out an efficient way.
Right.
100%.
Yes.
Well, anyway, guys, I really appreciate you being on the show with me today. Is there anything else you want to add before we get out of here?
No, man. Appreciate you having us. And, you know, if you need to do another interview on something else, dude, I'm available.
I know. Look at you, twice in a month, man, on here. That's doing all kinds of stuff. I didn't even know you're involved with them until you're talking to me. I was like, wait a minute, Vic, what? You're part of this too? That's cool, man. So good for you, brother. Being all
do
over
it
the
all,
place.
dude, and try to do as much as I can in this industry. I love it.
Yeah, me too, brother. So I'm glad to see
24/7.
more. Hell yeah. Well, I guess I'll see you up north next time I'm up there. And it was great meeting you too. Because yeah, and you know, thank you for educating my my audience, man. I really appreciate that, because, you know, I get a lot of questions about lights and stuff, but, you know, I'm no light expert, so having a light expert in here is, you know, will help out. Yeah, that dude knows a lot. So New Mexico's lucky to have you here too, you know. So I wish you guys luck. I can't wait to see what you guys are doing. And if you, those listening, if you want to give them a try, give them a try. It's risk-free. So make sure you guys like, follow, subscribe, whatever you got to do to make sure you stay in the know and don't miss an update. I'll see y'all next week. All right.
Appreciate you.